Hello, my cookies. I still don't know if that sounds right. Anyway, welcome to the first episode of my show, Sugar, Spice, but Not Everything's Nice. I'm your host, the one and only, beautiful and talented Adriana. I tried. Anyway, today I'll be teaching you a little bit about French pastries, or at least, attempting to. It's going to be my first time making this type of French pastry called an eclair. Now, an eclair is generally like a choux pastry. It's based off of like butter, flour, and water. That's basically it, and it's filled with a pastry cream and then glazed on top with chocolate. I have never made an eclair in my life before, but that is the point of the show, to make new things and watch me either be a success or fail. Anyway, we'll get down through the list of ingredients first, and then I shall be talking to you about like a little story time of the theme of this episode, which is Europe. I will be starting with the pastry cream, which calls for 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream, which I don't have in my house because I did not plan this. I'm just going to be using whole milk instead. 1/4 of a cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of flour, a pinch of salt, which I will not be doing because I'm using salted butter because it is the only thing that is available in my house, and 2 large egg yolks and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Let's get down to it. Alright guys, so I'm gonna start by measuring my heavy cream. I wish. No, I'm gonna start by measuring out my milk because once again, it's the only thing I have on hand. And because we need to boil that, or at least like simmer it. Okay, it says specifically do not boil, so disregard what I said. You just have to simmer it. And it's 3/4 of a cup. Okay, so basically the story time for this episode is the fact that I went to Europe last summer, which is actually the first time that I had an eclair. Basically we went on a trip, like a family trip with my mom and my dad, where we went to like 5 different countries. Yeah, we went to Italy, France, Switzerland, Germany, and the UK. We went to England. I'm completely convinced that I used to be Italian in my past life. My favorite food is pasta. I'm in love with Greek and Roman mythology. My favorite type of history is European history, also Puerto Rican history, because that's where I'm from. I'm from Puerto Rico. But anyway, and I've been taking Italian lessons for about 6 years now. So when I went to Italy, I was super excited. We went to Rome, we went to Naples, and in that trip, we went to 5 different countries, as I said before. By the way, guys, I measured out my sugar. It's 1/4 of a cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. I need to take out a pinch of salt, and also I have to separate 2 eggs because I need 2 large egg yolks. And once again, I don't have large eggs. I just have medium eggs, but we'll deal with that. That's a lot of salt. I have combined in a bowl my flour, sugar, and salt. You just have to whisk it now. Whiskey. Anyway, no, we do not condone drinking in this podcast. Anyway, okay, so now I have to just add the egg yolks and whisk that together too. That sounds kind of weird, but okay. It says that it'll be kind of crumbly, but it'll be fine. This does not look nice. Look at this, it's like really clumpy. It's extremely crumbly. Okay, so my cream is already warm. I'm just kind of keeping it in the stove until I finish with this. So I think that now I'm finished. Actually, it's just really stuck in the whisker. Okay, so now I'm just gonna add my warm cream to the egg yolks. Okay, we're just gonna pour that into the egg yolk mixture. I really hope I don't get burnt. Anyway, as I was saying, so yeah, we went to Italy during that time, but after Italy, we went to Switzerland. And after Switzerland, we went to France. Also, I just don't have like any super interesting story about Switzerland. Like, it was a beautiful country. I just don't really have that much of a story. Except, actually, I did have this one tour guide that just kept screaming at us, and there was a there was a Brazilian family in our tour. And they were super nice. They became friends with my dad, but they didn't really understand each other. They just kind of communicated through facial expressions, which is great because my dad is kind of deaf. It was just like really convenient for both of them. Anyway, okay. So I'm just gonna pour the cream. Oh, I did this wrong, but it looks fine. Now what we're gonna do is just kind of whisk the pastry cream mixture until it thickens, until it simmers and thickens. Okay, so I'll just talk to you guys for that little bit. When I went to France, I wasn't really super excited. I really just wanted to try some food. I've never really had French food before. It's never really caught my attention. It's never caught my eye. I don't know much about the culture aside from the French Revolution and Napoleon Bonaparte. So it's just never really caught my attention that much. And the first few days, we went to the Eiffel Tower. I think that the Eiffel Tower is a really nice thing to look at from afar. It's like a really nice monument, but then when you get close to it, it just kind of looks like a metal structure, which is basically what it is, you know? It's just, I guess, like a huge metal structure. So, I wasn't really too happy about it. I didn't really like that day. It was super cold. I was not ready for the cold. I think this is thickening too much. Because this was already thickening way too fast. So, here's how it turned out. It tastes pretty good. It tastes kind of like uncooked flour, actually. It's fine, I guess. It's just for effects of the video. Now we're just gonna have to cover this with plastic wrap and let it rest in the fridge for at least 3 hours, the recipe says. So for the eclairs, I will be using 1/3 of a cup of water, 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter at room temperature, which I have here, 1/3 of a cup of flour, half a teaspoon of sugar, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, which I will not be using because once again, my butter is salted, and 1 large egg that has been beaten, which I have over here as well. So I'm just going to put, actually I have to preheat my oven first, 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Obviously we're not doing Celsius because we don't use that metric system. I just have the water heating up at like a low heat, which is already kind of a bit much. We have this the water heating up, and we're gonna mix the butter in and just let that melt together. And we're just gonna stir it around a little bit. Once this all melts, we're just gonna stir in the flour and the sugar and the salt that I do not have. Okay, so as I was saying, the most interesting thing I saw in the Eiffel Tower was like a little tiny structure that replicated the Eiffel Tower, but it was made out of macarons. I think the next day we went to the Palace of Versailles, which was beautiful, and I adored it. I loved it so much. It was so beautiful, but it was a really hot day and I was sweating a lot. It was not cute. After that, we did go to Montmartre, I don't know. Okay, so this is all melted. I'm just gonna remove this from the heat and then, well, first of all, turn it off. Remove it from the heat and then just pour the flour and the sugar into it. And then we're just gonna stir it very vigorously until it starts like, I'm sorry, I have to move it. Until it starts like pulling away from the sides. Then we went to Montmartre, which was amazing. I loved it. It was so pretty. There was like so many artists, and we ate at a really cute restaurant, but it was hot as hell. I'm pretty sure like hell is pretty PG-13. The first thing that people told us when we got to Montmartre was to not pay attention to the people like asking us to sign petitions or anything because they were pickpockets. So that's another thing I didn't really like about France. You had to always like watch your stuff. You had to always watch your bags because literally everywhere there was a pickpocket. I think somebody in our group actually did get robbed, but my family, thank God, did not get robbed at all. Oh my God, this is so annoying. I don't want to keep mixing. So I think I was doing it wrong. So first of all, I switched to a wooden spatula and I turned the stove back on until this pulls away from the sides, which I don't think is happening right now. So we were actually told to watch out for pickpockets because they were disguised as schoolgirls asking people to sign their petitions, which I found very interesting and very smart actually, if you think about it. Because when you signed, they tell you to please cooperate with a little donation. So when you reach for your pocket to do that, for your wallet to give that donation, there are other people around checking to see where your wallet is. And when you're in another place, they sneak up on you and they take away your wallet and you don't even like notice. So I found that very interesting. But anyway, when we went up, it was so pretty. I actually loved it. I'm gonna put some pictures of everything a little bit when I finish the video. I found it beautiful, honestly. It was like a little artsy town. It had a really nice restaurant that had no air conditioner and it had free wine, which was really nice. But also after we ate, we went to this, okay, I think this is actually almost ready. Sorry to change the topic. It's actually, oh my God. I'm making eclairs. It was just really nice, honestly. And after we ate, we went to this one bakery that had a beautiful layout of pastries. And ever since I got to France, I was telling my parents, what I want to do here is try an eclair. I didn't want to see the Eiffel Tower. I didn't want to see the Arc of Triumph. I did not want to see Versailles, although I loved it. I just wanted to try an eclair. So I did try an eclair and it was so good. And I haven't had one since that summer, which was last summer of 2019. So my eclair was coffee flavored. And I actually have a picture of myself eating it. I'm gonna put it in the shot. And it was so good. It had like a coffee glaze in it and it was filled with pastry cream, I think it was, but like coffee flavored, and it was just so good. So I've always wanted to have another one, but I just never really have. Also I'm gonna show you guys the dough in a second. All right, so here's the dough. As you can see, it's kind of like clumping already. I think I have to mix it a little bit more so I can clump around the spoon, as it says here. But okay, so I just put my dough in the mixer so it can cool off a little bit before I add the egg. And you have to do it for about 1 to 2 minutes because if not, the egg can cook and we do not want like curdled eclairs. Okay, I just added the egg and that's how it looks right now. All right, so here's what the mixture is supposed to do, which is like drop a triangle, and we're gonna test that right now. Yeah, that's actually perfect. Oh my God. Okay, so I have just put my mixture into a piping bag. It's still kind of warm to the touch, which is fine. I'm pretty sure. I don't know, man. I've never made this recipe before. Anyway, I already tasted the dough. Don't do that because it's raw. But if you're a rebel like me, you can do however you please. I'm just gonna put a little bit of water here because I think you're supposed to like tap the little edges that the piping bag leaves with water. You'll see what I mean in a second. Coffee eclair was really the highlight of France. I also tried pastries in the UK, in London specifically. I really enjoyed a pecan tart. It was really just like the best thing I've ever had, or one of them at least. The thing that I most enjoyed about Europe was just like seeing so many different cultures and so many historical sites and just learning so much. I had amazing tour guides. I had actually 3 Spanish tour guides that were all like bi or trilingual. I also got to speak to some people in Italy. I spoke to this one guy in a gelato parlor. I went to Venice and I went on a canoe ride, on a gondola ride. Yeah, on a gondola ride. And the funny story, the guy who was rowing in my gondola actually asked me out afterwards, and he was like, oh my god, do you want to spend some time with me? And I was like, I gotta ask my parents first because I'm underage. Obviously my parents said no, and I was very much weirded out and kind of scared, but it's a story, I guess. It's a story. I should have switched the camera. You see like those little marks that the piping bag left? We're just gonna squish those a little bit with water because I've seen that a lot in videos, so I think it's a good thing to do. And then I'm just going to pop these in the oven for 10 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And afterwards, I'm going to open the oven door for 5 minutes and then pop them in another 18 to 20 minutes so that they finish baking, because if they underbake, the recipe says that they will not dry out inside, so you can't fill them with the pastry cream. All right, so here's how the eclairs look like. This one's like upside down, as you can see. They're kind of pale, but I think that's fine. Now all I'm gonna do is just poke a little hole underneath them so the steam can escape, and later we'll just fill them up with the pastry cream. So I took the eclairs out of the oven a while ago, and I think they're now cooled. So I just took the pastry cream that was in the fridge chilling and put it in this piping bag, and now I'm just gonna fill the eclairs. And I actually remembered that I did have a fun story from Switzerland. I got stuck in an elevator with my parents the day that we were supposed to leave the hotel, and it was an experience because my dad started trying to force open the elevator door, but oh shit, it just popped out. My dad was trying to force open the elevator door, and he couldn't force it completely open, and then we all just kind of started screaming and like yelling at each other, and we started screaming like for help outside. And the thing is that in Switzerland, not many people speak English or Spanish, as a matter of fact. So we were just kind of hoping that somebody would understand us, and eventually this woman that worked in the hotel came up to us. She was like, oh my god, are you guys okay? But like, we tried to explain the situation that we were stuck in the elevator, and she couldn't really understand. So we kind of just had to show her, but I mean, we really couldn't get out, you know? So then we started trying to call the tourism company, and they wouldn't answer either. We tried to get them to notify the bus, and they just like didn't really do it. They didn't really do anything. Eventually we did get out of the elevator and into the bus, and I mean, I think that was the worst thing that happened to us on all that trip, and I just really want to go back. But obviously with this coronavirus thing, nobody knows what's gonna happen. Specifically, like Italy and Spain are the countries that I would go to, and they're the most affected by the coronavirus. So I'm sorry I keep eating the pastry cream. It's just really good. we just kind of have to have patience, because without patience, there is nothing. Without patience, there's no eclairs. So keep that in mind. All right, so I've just finished folding them up. I originally got 8 eclairs, but I ate one because it got burnt. Yeah, now I'm just gonna make the chocolate filling, which is made up of, I think it's, yeah, half a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chunks. I'm gonna be using chocolate chips and 1 tablespoon of virgin coconut oil. I think I'm gonna cut that recipe in half because that sounds like a lot, and there's only like a really few mini eclairs. I just finished with the chocolate glaze, and here's how it looks. I'm just gonna dip these and then put them to chill a little bit. Anyway, oh my god, that's so cute. Okay, so as I was saying, yeah, we're just like, everything's uncertain at this point, but I just know that like they're just dealing with it in their own way. I remember that when it all started, I screwed up. It fell. When I started, my Italian teacher started telling us that it wasn't really as bad as like people thought. That basically like it was just a political plan for like different countries to have a monopoly over Italy. But eventually, as it got worse, she and all of us started getting worried. I remember we read an article about the Prime Minister of Italy issued a quarantine over the Lombardy region, Giuseppe Conte, and then he issued a quarantine all over Italy like a few weeks later. And then I think that same week, it was when we started the quarantine here in Puerto Rico. And honestly, like, it was something tough. I could not imagine being in quarantine for that long, because Italy started it before us. It just affected a lot of people, and it was really sad. But the good thing is that things are improving and things are looking up. So hopefully, like, we'll still have to take safety measures, obviously, but hopefully now during summer, we're currently in May, so now I think like by July we'll like everything's gonna, at least the quarantine might actually be lifted by then, hopefully. But it's just a matter of patience, because without patience we don't have anything. Just like these eclairs, look at how cute they look. Now I'm just gonna put them in the fridge to chill a little bit, and then I'll eat them. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of Sugar and Spice, but not everything's nice.